If you're in the market to buy your dream home, I want to help you out by telling you about 5 houses to avoid buying, and we're going to get started. Hello and welcome back to All Things Tennessee with me, Ben Barreto, your local real estate pro and relocation expert for East Tennessee. Today I'm diving into a crucial topic: 5 types of houses you should absolutely avoid buying. Trust me, you don't want to end up with a money pit or a bad investment. So stick around and I'm going to tell you exactly what types of houses to avoid and when to avoid them. These houses can be a good investment, but only for experienced buyers or specialty buyers like investors, and buyers with little experience in home construction, don't know what they're looking for, should avoid these homes. If you're not an experienced buyer and you still find that an older home is the only one you want, or one of these homes is the only one you got to have, just be prepared to spend a little out-of-pocket money and extra testing and inspections, and make sure to ask for longer inspection periods so you have the time to get your due diligence done and make sure that you're protecting your investment. Let me tell you about each home right now and why you should avoid. The first type of home to avoid is old homes. The reason you want to avoid these types of houses should be obvious, but let me help you out. Old homes will cost you more money early on in home ownership, and honestly just over time in general. First, you might have an old house that might look renovated on the face but has old wiring running throughout, or have an outdated or unsafe or even discontinued electrical panel like a Federal Pacific electric panel that will disqualify financing on the spot unless it's replaced. Old electrical can be fire hazard, it can't support new appliances correctly and electronics, and will fail you much sooner than later. Additionally, older homes tend to have lead in them. You run the chance of lead-based paint in the home, which was legally taken out of use in the 70s because of they're a health hazard. Then there's lead pipes, which tend to rust and poison your drinking water or leak easier. These are also no longer in use and usually recommended to be replaced immediately if they're found in a home, which can cost a lot of money. Another thing you got to be concerned about is asbestos with older homes. Asbestos is the name used to group a class of naturally occurring mineral fibers that have been widely used for industrial processes and products, and is associated with adverse effects on human health. Asbestos was used in almost every aspect of material used in building houses before the 1980s, from cement to shingles, flooring, pipes, paint, and insulation. Finally, you tend to find more unsafe features in older homes since they're very unlikely to meet modern standards and codes and building specs and guidelines. For example, decks weren't as secure as they're supposed to be today. Stairs were built steeper than they are today, easier to trip and fall down. Laundry chutes can be found in old homes that seem cool until your kid falls through it and gets stuck. Now, I've sold a lot of older homes, so it's not the end of the world. Just make sure you do your due diligence and drill the homeowners to disclose anything they might know that will save you time, money, and heartache. This one might seem obvious. Finding a home in a flood zone can most definitely lead to more out-of-pocket expenses. Those expenses are immediately around the extra insurance you got to carry just in case a flood happens. But there's also a lot of out-of-pocket expenses for repairs, replacement of lost items as you battle the home insurance company to get proper reimbursement for the money that you've lost or spent. There is a second category you should consider adding to this list though in the year 2024, and that is homes that fall in 100 to 500 year flood zones. Now, this used to mean that houses were pretty much fine and you'd likely never see a flood on your property for generations. However, we have all witnessed the crazy weather patterns that our Earth our planet is facing right now, and it's been dishing out these crazy storms like prison camp detainee being force-fed through a tube. I've seen floods in areas that were not in any kind of flood zone in the last couple of years, and we've all seen places like New York and towns in Texas that are underwater. You can safely assume that a 100 to 500 year flood zone doesn't mean a whole lot nowadays. I would recommend only purchasing a home in a flood zone of any kind if you have no other choice and you can afford the extra hit to your budget and you just love the home. Otherwise, walk away. Don't run. We don't want to be rude, but definitely get out of there. Now, before I tell you why manufactured homes are not a good investment, let me tell you a story. So I had a summer job for a while working at Clayton Homes, one of the largest makers and distributors of manufactured homes in the country. My job was to cut drywall and run electrical for outlets, switches, lighting, fans, things like that. This warehouse was like an assembly line, and we kicked out from scratch to completion with only kitchen cabinet installation left and painting 4 to 5 houses a day. That's over 25 houses made a week. Now, these are single wide trailers, but I'm positive the process to make a double wide isn't that much different. Would you move into a site-built traditional single-family home if you found out it was built in one single day? Okay, now that story is meant to help underline the rest of this category. So what is a manufactured home? Before jumping into why you should avoid buying one of these homes, let's define it and what I mean when I say manufactured home. Now, we all are probably thinking of the typical single wide, double wide trailer that you see in trailer parks. And this is the type of manufactured home that I used to build. And basically a manufactured home is a house or a structure built in a factory or off-site and then transported to the site in one or several pieces put together and set up. But there are other types of houses that fall into this category, like modular homes and kit homes. A modular home looks almost just like a regular house, but it too was built off-site in a warehouse and then brought to the land, usually in 2 to 3 pieces and put together. They definitely are a step up from double wide trailers, but still very much not the quality of a traditional single-family home. Besides these houses being quickly built by unlicensed, barely trained factory workers and the material usually being subpar, the main reason not to buy a property like this is they just aren't worth anything over time. In fact, unlike a house, a manufactured off-site built home loses value over time almost all the time. So you're losing money unless you own the land it's on, and then the land is well maintained, and that's the only thing in the whole property that is worth anything and can have a return on your investment. These manufactured homes are not a good source of investment unless you're owning them and renting them out. That's a different story altogether though. So this next category I was a little bit on the fence about, and I'm probably going to offend some people, but just hear me out. I think it's a good idea to include homes that have been quickly flipped or renovated by real estate investors if they're flipped in a short amount of time. The key phrase here is short time. Now, some home renovations are done by licensed professionals that put time, quality, and effort into the flip. Truth be told though, and I'll probably again make a few enemies here, most house flippers have one goal, and that is to maximize profit as much as they can and in the shortest amount of time. So when your goal is maximizing profit and saving time, one way to ensure you do that is to spend less money and cut corners. You can usually tell a house has been poorly flipped. Bad paint jobs, shoddy craftsmanship, old components made up to look new. If the house was old and the outlets might look new, but is the wiring updated? Or did they just replace the light switches and the lighting? The kitchen looks great in pictures, but you get there and you realize they just painted the old cabinets to make them look fresher, and maybe they changed the knobs. Also, look up the tax records and see when was the house bought, and then try to find old photos. If it was bought less than 4 months ago, you should probably run away. 6 months, you should be careful. You might be okay. More than 6 months, the point is do your due diligence. Never skip a home inspection, and do as much digging as you can. Before getting to the last category of homes that you should not buy, check out last week's video, how to choose the best neighborhood for you in Knoxville. You can check that out by clicking right here. Also, if you're thinking of moving to East Tennessee, if you need a realtor, if you have questions about real estate, or if you're just thinking of buying and selling anywhere in the country, don't hesitate to reach out. My contact information, as always, is easy to find down in the description, and I'd love to talk to you about it. And of course, while you're here, make sure to like and subscribe. It really helps out my videos, it helps out my channel, it helps out my family, and it's free, it's easy. You should be done by now if you did it. Alright, the last category is uniquely designed homes. Now, when I say uniquely designed homes, I'm talking about homes that do not fall into traditional style category. Homes that are shaped like a cylinder. Homes that are all windows. Homes shaped like a shoe. Homes built in the ground that resemble a hobbit hole. Basically, homes that are going to be very hard to resell. Now, if you have the money to spend and you love the house so much that you're willing to keep it forever, that's fine, go for it. But if you don't know if this is your forever home, and you're more than likely going to sell this and move on in the future, you only have one shot at this, and you don't have hundreds of thousands of dollars in cash to fall back on your ear, then don't buy this kind of home. Yes, you'll love it at first, but over time, when you want to sell and you can't find a seller for it, you're going to hate the fact that you bought it. And the last thing I want you to do is to resort to extreme measures just to get rid of this property. Don't do anything illegal. Worst case scenario, just start renting it out. Put it on an Airbnb program. Hopefully you'll make some money off of it. Listen, a home for most people, they're not just an investment. Yes, there are situations where these types of investment ideas might be good for you, but unless you are sure and unless you know what you're getting into and the risk you're taking, stay away from these homes and protect your future, your family, your investment. That's it for today's video. I appreciate you guys stopping by. Thanks so much for watching. As always, if you need anything, give me a shout. And until next time, have a good day and have a good rest of the week. We'll see you soon. Bye.